You know, it's going to be good if I start off laughing. People, we have a lot to cover today. It's too much, honestly. Either I'm going to laugh or start screaming. I don't know. We'll see. None of this is obviously scripted. I just kind of talk off the top of my head with all of you, and I'm really happy you're all here with me here right now. So, post market wrap up Tuesday, August 6th, 2024. Okay, so let me get my head on straight, and it just helps me out to talk about the market. A little bounce today, nothing major. And Greg Mannarino, as you all know, is certainly not in the business of picking tops or bottoms. Tops or bottoms. No, sorry. That's a losing losing game. You can't win, and unfortunately, people have to learn the hard way. Okay, whatever. So, with that, we still have to expect volatility here right through the end of this month. You all know that, which is being amplified. Okay, this is that seasonal volatility. Every year you see this here. Started 2 weeks ago, will play out to the end of the month, and then you have geopolitical events. Everyone's waiting to see what's going to happen here in the Middle East, and well, the market just closed, so be ready for anything. Generally, these kind of events, they hold them off. They just push them off until the U.S. market closes. Just happens to work out that way. People, it's kind of an interesting phenomenon. Maybe all of you can let me know what you think about that. So with regard to the rest of the market, okay, not really much of a nothing day. But let's talk about. Here we go. We have to talk about the Fed, absolutely, and a couple of other things. But let's start off with front page of Reuters. U.S. recession worries surge again. Look, and I wrote, recession, really? This is yet to be defined, what we're in now. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that real quick. Travis, thank you. Okay. If we just look back at what has happened to U.S. debt here, since Obama took office, all throughout his tenure, Trump's tenure, this current guy's tenure, it has more than doubled. It's an incredible situation. I mean, think about what I just said. Take every president prior to Obama, going back to George Washington, the last three have helped the Fed inflate that much. This mechanism has caused, well, obviously, this was instituted here to re-prop up the stock market, a real estate market, and allow the Fed to hit the pinnacle of power. The pinnacle, but we haven't seen anything yet, and I mean zero. You understand? So all this debt that has been created over the last just three U.S. presidents here, it's like a bomb waiting to go off. Tyler, thank you. Yes, Jim Ricker's great book here. Read this here. And I have another book I'm going to suggest to you, and I'm going to tell you what it is at the end. A lot of people say, Greg, what book should I read? There is one book that you must absolutely read if you want to understand a lot of what's happening right now. And I'm going to talk about that at the end. Andy, thank you. Andy, Danny, I appreciate that. So let's just talk. Okay. All this debt that has been created, again, more than double the debt last three presidents here. What happens when all this currency is just created? Does it just sit there and just float around for a while? Actually, it does. And that's the truth. When you have an economy like we've had during the last three presidents, that's gone nowhere. Okay. The illusion has been the economy is great. It's prosperous. It's done nothing. What has happened here is we've built a house of cards floating over a pool of gasoline of debt. It's going to go off. Now, let me show you. This should make sense to you. I've spoken about this before. Money velocity. Money velocity is the rate at which cash moves through an economy. Now, just bear with me a moment. It's very, very simple. When you have an actual economy that's booming and people are prosperous, everything is fantastic, the rate at which cash is moving through the economy goes up. It's just the way it works. Makes sense to you? Just logically. Okay. Now, let me show you what has happened here to the money velocity. This is Barack Obama. This is going into Trump. Lower, lower, lower. And then, of course, we have current thing sitting behind the resolute desk. So all of a sudden we get this. Poof. What is that? What this is all of those extra bills that have been added to the system. And the president has no power to add bills to a screen or anything. Obviously, they have to work closely with the Fed to create this situation and then sell it to the people. Obama did it. Trump did it. This guy's doing it right now. They have to sell it to you. Okay, what we're doing great. We're the envy of the world. Rah, 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 the stock market. Remember all this? It's a con job. You've all been conned. Okay. All you need to look at is this. Why is the money velocity, why was it cratering through the floor? Now we're seeing this little pickup here. This is why we're seeing inflation right now. It takes a finite amount of time for all of these extra bills in whatever form they exist, mostly digital, to finally make their way through an economy that is in free fall. The economy has been in free fall all through Obama, all through Trump, and obviously the current guy too. The illusion has been maintained by a pumping us all with the largest debt loads that we've ever had. And this isn't just on a macro scale, meaning the nation itself. Just from today, again, American credit card debt just hit another record high. It's not going to stop. U.S. household debt goes higher. It's not going to stop. Consumer debt, every kind of debt you can imagine. And this is about to get much worse. You see what I underlined here? Okay. We're going to talk more about this too. Read this headline. I'm going to show you that in a minute here. So I just wanted to put a perspective on what's happening here with regard to our economic situation. It could not possibly be worse. It's literally a house of cards built over a pool of gasoline. No three presidents in the history of the United States of America have worked more closely with the central bank than Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Harris, whatever. Okay, that's the fact. And again, the truth is hidden. It's always in plain sight. Look at what's happening here. Thank you, Jeffrey. I appreciate that. You can just see what was happening to the velocity of money all throughout Obama, all through Trump here, and obviously through Biden, and now we're seeing this tick up. What this is all those extra bills now starting to chase the same or a lesser amount of goods. This is economics 101. Okay. But you've all been lied to. You've all been duped, as you would imagine. Okay. And it's not going to stop. So we just covered the economic news from today. Now, this is something I want to focus on first before we talk about what the Fed recently said. Jonathan, thank you. Oh, dude, of course. It's all part of it. If we really would have put all this together, forget about the face value of debt. I've been explaining to people, for instance, I started out here. When you look at the face value of the debt here, you have to consider the associated derivatives, and there's layers on both sides. It's in the quadrillions. So this is kind of, we all know that. At least I think so. We should know that. So where did I put that? Oh, yeah, here we go. So again, we all understand where we're going here with the Federal Reserve, and there's no more. All the calls yesterday for an emergency rate cut, they've all gone silent now. Okay, there's nothing going on here. We've had a market in S&P 500 that in just the last 9 months has put on 25%. What we witnessed Friday into yesterday, absolute zero. Okay, just nothing. Again, seasonal volatility. With the political, whatever the nonsensical stuff going on here with geopolitics, you all know that. Cat clutch, thank you, I appreciate that. Now, with regard to Fed rate cuts here, look at this headline. It could prove to be a double-edged sword when it comes to inflation. It's amazing that actually something like this, or a headline like this, is allowed to hit the airwaves. You are supposed to believe, of course, that moving forward, that rate cuts are going to help you. They're not going to help you at all. Okay. I've already explained this to you. We're hearing this. It's alarming to me what we're hearing out of both presidential candidates. Again, who don't have the power. Neither Kamala, whoever's selected, Kamala or Trump, does not have that power. But they're jumping ahead here, understanding the Fed is, in fact, going to start lowering rates because that's how they fulfill their goal. I've told all of you for a very long time that the Federal Reserve needs and will get an ally behind the Resolute desk, whether it's Kamala or Trump, an ally, and they're selling you the same story right here. We promise you lower rates. Lower rates are working out really well for people as they're buried in debt here. Credit card debt, household debt, personal debt, all the stuff that I've been telling you about, which is not going to stop anytime soon. Lower rates obviously makes it easier for people to acquire easy money and make it the situation even worse. It makes you a slave to the system. They need dependency. Part of the deconstruction of what we're witnessing now is this further deconstruction of the entire system. They need an ally. The Fed needs an ally. They're going to get an ally. We're being sold the same story by both presidential candidates, promising you lower rates, promising a weaker dollar. Lower rates helps the corporations here. Okay, it's not a good thing. We need higher rates. Okay, that would be a way to save our economy here. We need a stronger dollar. A weaker dollar, okay, and that's what we're hearing now. We need a weaker dollar, weaker dollar, weaker dollar. It plays right into the Federal Reserve's plan to, again, be the lenders and buyers of last resort, to own it all. Own it all, okay? Sure, weaker dollar again, as you all know. Sachin, thank you. Makes it easier for the multinational corporations to transact overseas. That's how it works. They reap the profit from it. Lower rates. How this is such a scam. How this is being sold to the people. Okay, it's good for you. We're promising you you're going to get a lower rate mortgage or a lower rate loan, whatever. But what this really does is allow the corporations to borrow for next to nothing and then sell corporate debt at a higher yield. And of course, this is like a carry trade. You see what I'm talking about? And of course, they profit from that too. The corporate agenda, which is directly tied to this neo-feudalistic society that we are quickly moving into, is dependent on a weaker dollar. It is dependent on lower rates. Again, gone here in America are the mom and pop shops. They're gone in favor of the corporate structure due to trickle-down economics. Trickle-down economics is a curse. Trump, Harris selling you the same thing. It's exactly what the Fed wants here. Okay. If this disturbs you, I do not apologize, because the truth must be in your face, and prove me wrong that what I'm saying. Look around you. Is trickle down working? You've had trickle down forever here, and a vast is not even a good enough word. Creating of pulling debt into the system since Obama. Okay, since they had to reprop this up on another Fed to really help fulfill its end game. Sound about right, Mitch? Thank you. I think we're all on the same page with all this here. So now you're understanding, at least all of you, for why we're seeing inflation right now. All those extra bills created Obama, Trump, Biden, now starting to chase the same amount of goods. I warned about this from years ago. I said, once we see the money velocity break this trend, and I'm not saying we've totally broken it just yet, but we are certainly moving higher. This is all those extra bills. It can't be stopped. The only way to actually prevent this from getting much, much worse, there is one way to do it. And you will probably know, those of you who understand economics probably know what I'm about to say. We would have to go full on Volcker. I mean, there would have to be a raising of rates by an astronomical amount. Ain't gonna happen. What we're gonna get is the promise of lower rates. Kamala, Trump, the Fed more than happy to continue to, because this allows them to, again, create cash out of thin air and buy the debt. It's a revolving, it's a vortex here. And I've explained this to all of you for years and years and years. When the Fed gives themselves permission pretty soon to lower rates, which they're in the market right now, what they're doing here is now we can add as many digits to a screen as we want, which they can do anyway, and buy more debt. And this inflationary hell that we are in right now is going to get much worse. And I can't wait to see how it's going to play out, because whoever is selected as president is going to find a scapegoat. They're not going to point their fingers at the Fed, which is not happening now. You know that. No, is Kamala calling out the Fed right now? No, she's saying she's promising you lower rates. Is Trump calling out the Fed, explaining that they're the ones that are responsible for what's going on? Absolutely not. He's promising you lower rates and, of course, a weaker dollar. You can't separate the two, okay? And you can see the ripple effect right now across everything with regard to what's happening here with the entire yield curve dropping, and we haven't seen anything yet. Does this make sense to you, what I'm saying so far? I believe I am. At least I hope so. I'm trying my best here. So this is very interesting what we're going to, anyway, going back to this. So a double-edged sword. Rate cuts here and inflation, obviously it's massively inflationary. That's why I was very surprised to see this. This might cause people to think, which they don't do. Keep that in mind, because when I tell you the book you need to buy, you're going to be surprised. A lot of you are going to be shocked, probably, at the book I'm going to tell you to buy at the end of this. And I have no connection to this book. What I'm going to tell you, I don't make any cash out of it. I think it's a must read, and you will understand a lot more. Mitch, thanks again. So anyway, this mechanism is inflationary. Obviously, how the Fed has to create cash and buy all the debt. It's also going to boost the stock market higher. Donald Trump said to the Fed, do not cut rates. Wait for the presidential election. Okay, it's a selection here. The reason for that is he doesn't want cuts now because he knows that's going to boost the market, going to make Kamala Biden look good. Okay. He doesn't want that. Not only that, Trump wants deep cuts. And that is going to rocket the stock market up. He's going to tell you how strong our economy is. Look at the market. Okay. Our economy is booming. Same thing like last time. So with that in mind, I want you to, this is what will happen. This is Goolsby, Fed Goolsby. You like that? Yeah, it's like a mugshot, doesn't it? So I wrote, this is good, or is it? So they floated out this creature today. And this is what I posted. Lions, Fed President Goolsby. A ghoul is an entity which robs graves and eats dead bodies. Okay, so I think it's very appropriate. He said the Fed will fix the economy. Now let's stop there for a moment. We're being told that it's their economic policy. It's the president's economic policy. I've also told you that this is a lie. Presidents don't run the economy. The economy is run by the Federal Reserve. The entire monetary system is run by the Federal Reserve. The financial markets are run by the Federal Reserve. So when you hear something like that, you see the truth gets out there. You just got to be astute enough to understand what you're seeing or hearing. So when this guy was floated out today, this was Fox Business, as I said, another absolutely propaganda ministry of the highest order. So the Fed's going to fix the economy. What he's saying here is the Fed will be more than happy to, let me underline that word again, vastly. You know what? No. We're going to do something here that we just have to do. We're going to have to do this. Are you ready? I have to show this to you. Are you ready? Vastly inflate. The Federal Reserve has one tool, as you all know. We're being told that the Fed has the power to fix the economy because they run it. There's no fixing here. You have to understand what they're talking about. What he's saying is the Fed is willing to get in here and buy it all. Just really? I'm just shocked about that. How about you? Are you surprised? No, because that's what they want to do. The Fed is willing to supply any amount of debt because all they got to do is add it to a digital screen, which will foster the illusion. All this is massively destructive to the economy. It will give the market will go for, who knows, the Dow could go to 100,000. Okay. But I've already explained for I don't know how long, for years, the faster that the economy craters. Obama, Trump, Biden. Oh, look what's happening now. Inflation. The faster the economy craters. In reality, not what you're being cheerleaded and how strong we are. We're the envy of the world and rah, 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 the stock market. The faster this happens, the higher the market's going to go. So if we're being told here clearly that it's the Fed that runs the economy, I don't know how many people believe Greg Mannarino. Some of you actually believe that it's the president who's responsible for the economy, the markets, the monetary system. I mean, you have to understand, politicians are counting on you being ignorant. They can say whatever they want to. And a lot of people are going to believe it because they want to believe in that person that they think is going to bring them out of whatever bad kind of a situation. This is how religions start. Go look, how many of you actually know the histories of how religions actually start? They start basically the same way here. People that are desperate to find a way out, and it's just a crazy situation anyway. But it's really the truth. I mean, Greg is an interesting character. So is this guy, Goolsby. A ghoul is an entity which robs graves and eats dead bodies, and telling you the Fed's going to fix the economy. All the Fed's going to do is use their one and only tool. The Fed has a tool. It's a very powerful tool. It's their ability to manipulate debt. The more debt that they create or are called on to create. Again, look, let me set the stage for you one more time. I know a lot of you may be new here. We're getting a lot of new subs. There's a lot of people lately joining this pride, and I am happy to see that, okay? Nothing could make a central banker, I'm not just talking about the Federal Reserve here. When any world leader talks about something, for example, you're going to get lower rates or we're going to weaken the currency, they have a party at wherever central bank that is in whatever nation around the world that you can't even believe, because this is exactly what they want. It helps them win. It helps them create a slave society. Now, with regard to where we're going here, okay, the Fed, they can fix the economy, they can fix it, but fix it is kind of an interesting here. Fix it, rig it. Okay, it's already rigged. We don't have a market. You know that. We don't even have an economy. This is again a house of cards floating on oceans of debt gasoline, which is going to go off. And that's what they're doing. Are you paying any attention, any of you, to what's going on in the UK, France, parts of Europe, here around the world? There's rioting. People are starting to do exactly what they're being forced to do. People are struggling, okay? We have nearly 80%. Don't take my word for anything, okay? Look this up for yourself. 80% of working Americans who cannot get by. What they're doing is burying themselves in debt to maintain the illusion, okay? We got credit card debt, household debt. This is from today. Personal debt skyrocketing at a pace we've never seen before. And of course, defaults across the board. We got your recession worries over here, household debt. I mean, all the stuff that you and I have been talking about here. And this is going to get much worse, again, with calls for lower rates, with a weaker dollar. We just, it's disgusting what we're seeing here. And as I said, hold on to your hats about what book I'm going to tell you to buy in a minute, and it's going to make everything clear to you. Anyway, and it's not The Creature from Jekyll Island. I know a lot of you think that's what I'm going to say. It ain't. No, well, you should. If those of you who have not read The Creature from Jekyll Island, that's number one. And the book I'm going to tell you to read in a moment here is number two. But anyway, so what they're doing here is they're putting is more and more pressure on people. Okay. That pressure is going to reach a boiling point. It is already in some parts of the world. We're going to see that here in the United States in probably relatively short order. There's going to be an event. Okay. There must be an event that's going to precipitate a drastic and rapid terrible situation here, some false flag that they can blame, that they can point a finger on, because social unrest here, so people are already getting very riled up here. This is division. This is what they're doing, but they have to set the stage. The stage is divide people, make them hate each other, make them consider that there's enemies on either side. We cannot allow them to come together. Can't happen. We have to keep them divided, keep them in a state of hatred, confusion. Thank you, Nick. Almost as hard to read. I appreciate that. No, you're amazing, man. I'm nothing. I am nothing. I'm just a guy sitting here talking. But they have to do this. Why do you think they've chosen certain people here to run for president right now? And the stories and the blame and the this, well, this party that, and this party this. It's again, they've created enemies. We're not each other's enemies, but they have to make you believe that's true to foster what they're bringing down the pike. They want absolute pandemonium to break out around the world. And this gives them an excuse to steal more of your freedoms, to steal more of your liberties from you. You understand? This is what they're working towards. There are many people, and I'm sure that that's a lot of you right here, who actually believe that you're living in some type of reality. What you're living in is a side effect. We're living in the past in many ways. The central banks around the world have a plan. It's a long-term plan to, again, own it all, to be the lenders and buyers of last resort. The build-up to that is a very precise, a very exacting set of dynamics that they must put in play to convince the public of things that are absolutely not true, and to get them riled up, to steal their wealth from them. We have not this, what we have witnessed here with artificially suppressed rates, pork roll, thank you, bro, is the most magnificent, that's the correct word, the most magnificent theft in the history of the world. Bear with me here. Artificially suppressed rates have robbed savers absolutely blind. And what are we hearing? You're going to get lower rates. And you're being promised that lower rates are coming. That means that your savings accounts are going to earn less than they are now. And you're cheering about it. Look at these. It drives me nuts here when I'm watching, let's say, a Trump rally or a Biden rally or soon to be and they're talking about things and the people are cheering. They're cheering about this. They're signing their own death warrants, not realizing that this system has robbed them blind of trillions of dollars in realized wealth. Sachin, thank you. Here's another one for you to read. This mechanism of suppressed rates, literally, people used to depend on interest earning accounts, interest paying higher than inflation, to gain an edge on the economy, to help them support themselves. Today, you can't get, even if you have a high yield, there are high yield savings accounts. I don't care how high the yield is. It's not keeping up with the actual rate of inflation. You're being robbed, and you're about to be robbed even more. There's no doubt about it. You're being set up here. Trickle down doesn't work. Kamala's plan doesn't work, which is the same as Trump's plan. It don't work, but you're being told it will. Understand? Look, maybe this stuff is heavy, and I mean, like, not with regard to gravity, but like kind of hard to grasp. But I'm trying, honestly, to make this easy. The Bikini Truther, thank you. How you been, by the way? I haven't seen you in a while. You guys get all this here? You understand what I'm talking about? We're being led to the slaughter. Ain't gonna change. Trump ain't changing it. Kamala ain't changing it. We actually have the power to change it. But people have already surrendered. We've not you and I, Reezy Cup, thank you. People have been lulled into a sense of what's literally known as learned helplessness. Learned helplessness. It's like Pavlov's dog. All these experiments that are done on animals is now being used on us. Okay. And people believe that they have to rely on some figurehead that's going to save them from their current woes. And they're being told by these same people right to their face, they ain't doing it. But of course, they're blaming each other for the current situation. The current situation is in your face. How many of you knew that during Obama, Trump, and Biden, that the economy was actually in free fall? Did you actually think it was good, or was it the illusion of the market that made you think it was good. The fact that we had low inflation or no inflation during Obama and Trump, but now we're seeing it. Why are we seeing it? Because all of that debt that was created under these three guys is now made it through the. If Trump were president right now, it wouldn't change. We would have seen the same thing. There's that lag effect. Because again, the economy was going nowhere, a dead economy. And now it's even more dead. And now we're starting to see this. That should scare you a little bit. But no one's going to tell you this. You think anybody's going to show you that besides Greg Mannarino? I doubt it. If they do, I would my hat would come off to them. All right, now look, before I let you go here, I want to tell you about the book that you need to go out and buy. First of all, okay, yes, The Creature from Jekyll Island. That should be number one. Number two, not my books, man. My books, they didn't forget about it. But you need to read The Art of the Deal by Donald Trump. If you do not have that book in your arsenal, you're missing out on a lot. XRP Plumbing, thank you very much. The Art of the Deal is a must-read book for anybody. That, first of all, I got that book. My God, man, I was a kid. I believe it came out in the late '80s, something along those lines, and I still have it somewhere. I don't know where it is. So when I moved here, I got it packed up somewhere. Anyway, that book goes over a lot of history and stuff like that, but that's not really what you got to pay attention to. Donald Trump's history and how he got where he is, and blah 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 blah. The Art of the Deal is a way to sell whatever you want to sell, including yourself. In a way that uses truth and hyperbole and alternative facts. And some of these alternative facts, and Donald Trump will tell you right in his book how to utilize this and use this as a weapon when you're trying to sell anything, even yourself. So he's the king. But every single politician must have read that book backwards, inside out, and I don't know, while they're sleeping, because they're all using that same playbook. They're mixing truth with hyperbole and alternative so-called facts, counting on that the people they're talking to are too dumb to understand what's happening. Anyone can make anything sound interesting or smart. Paul Ryan, thank you. He knows what I'm talking about. But Trump here in this book, The Art of the Deal, go out and order it. Go to Amazon, order the book. I'm telling you, you'll enjoy it. It's a good read. Whether you like Donald Trump or not, I'm telling you, especially if you don't like Donald Trump. And it looks split down the middle here, people who follow this blog, okay? A lot of people hate the guy. A lot of people love the guy. Forget that for a moment. The book is a must read for anyone who wants to understand. If you're a salesperson, looking to sell anything, even yourself, okay? Or an idea. Like, for example, someone running for office, they're selling themselves. You understand? If you are a salesperson, you want to sell a product, read that book. It goes over pretty much exactly how to use truths with alternative facts that maybe are not even facts, and turn that into a way to get that person or group of people that you're talking to believe every freaking word you're saying. Donald Trump, honestly, that book, dude, I got to give you credit where credit's due. You're a freaking genius. All right. I've never heard of it worded that way. There's a lot of guys out there who try to teach you how to sell things. The Wolf of Wall Street is one out. He does seminars all over the place over there. I can't remember his name, but you know what I'm talking about. Jordan Belfort. He's out there trying to teach people how to sell. It's the same premise. He probably read Trump's book 50,000 freaking times. It's the same thing. Use truths with hyperbole and alternative facts. Put this together in a way that you can convince anyone of anything and they're going to buy your product, or you, if you're running for office. It's just a beautiful thing. It really is. And you got every single politician follows the same exact script. And I believe they probably got it from Donald Trump, who's probably the ultimate salesman in some ways. All right, people, look, I think we covered so much here. I really hope you understand what's going on here. It's the Fed that runs the economy. It's not, you're being conned. When you hear someone either as president about their economic policy, or someone running for president about their economic policy. There is no economic policy. It's the Fed, and they're telling you right here that the Fed can fix it because they run it. There's no fix here. All you're going to get is massively, vastly expanding debt and a much weaker dollar, lower rates, the corporate agenda, and you're going to get wiped out. Just count on that. So start to take action here. You know what to do, at least from the market standpoint, from a precious metal, from a commodity standpoint, cryptos, Bitcoin, you know all that already here. But you got to prepare yourself at a much greater level, because what they're doing here, these riots that we're seeing break out around the world here, people have had enough. We're going to see that here because that's where they're pushing you. They've already divided us. We're not allowed to come together. If we come together, we get the power. They do everything in their power to keep us separated. Hate these people back even more. We lose. What have I been telling you? If we have to decide for ourselves what we want. It's not what they want. It's what we want. And if we don't make up our minds, if we want to live under some kind of a rulership, a dictatorship, whatever it might be, and that's coming here. Because once they get what they want, which is rioting in the streets right here in the United States, some event is going to happen where we're going to see a massive sell-off here in the debt market. That's where the real meltdown is. Forget the stock market, okay, for a moment. They got you glued to it. The CNBCs, the Fox businesses, the Reuters, they got you stuck on the Dow Jones Industrial Average here. Forget it. Look at the driver. The driver is the debt market. It tells you everything. You all know this. The debt market is always right. That's an editor on Wall Street going back as far as you want. That's why the central banks have chosen to manipulate it. Everything is a derivative as to what's and everything, and I mean all of it, with regard to the financial system, is a derivative of what's happening there. That's the core. Everything else, again, when the debt market melts down, and they're going to precipitate an event to allow that to happen, massive sell-off in the debt market, which is going to wipe out stock markets around the world, period. I mean, that's what they're going to do. And it gets bigger than that. What it comes down to is, again, what we already started to see during the meltdown of 08. It really, people look. Greg Mannarino is kind of an interesting person, I think. Okay, I'm going to talk about myself in the third person. Greg Mannarino is a guy that is kind of obsessed with the markets and everything connected to it. I'm also obsessed with race cars too, but that's a whole other thing. You all know that. When you study this stuff to the level I do every day, it really kind of rewires your brain in a way to understand. You can see everything so clearly because everything revolves around the market. You understand that? We all work for these central bank issued notes. We don't even own them. We've never really been paid. Paul, shout out to you. All we're being paid is in the units of debt. If you were getting paid, you'd be getting gold and or silver. Okay, then we owe taxes that the Fed creates out of nothing on our earnings, which are just units of debt. And when we go out every day to work for these things, we're working for the privilege. Think about what I'm going to say. To borrow those bills from who? From the issuing central bank. And we owe it back plus interest that created nothing. Whoever created that system is the genius of freaking geniuses. Okay, honestly, it's a group of men that got together and actually came up with this whole scheme. And they've now managed to sweep the globe with it. And again, they have their bases everywhere. It's a war. Them against us, and they are winning clearly. All these leaders around the world pushing the same agenda, trickle-down economics. It's working so well. This is why we're really witnessing an extinction level event. An extinction level event with regard to the middle class. The 1% and 2%ers, they're loving it. They are absolutely loving this. My economic plan, which all of you got who subscribe to my free newsletter, I outlined for you specifically why and how trickle-down don't work. And my bottom-up system would work. Again, we would see a resurgence of the mom and pop shops. The number one killer of an economy is, you know what it comes down to? One thing. It really, really does. It's a weak currency. And I understand that central banks are doing this deliberately so they can fulfill their agenda. But how does that help you? It doesn't help you. It does not help you. I'm not going to go on anymore about that. But anyway, I kind of lost track of what I was even talking about, and I just go off on these crazy tangents here. But I hope what I'm saying here is making sense to people. That's all I want to do. I want people to take away. Oh, that's what I was leading up to, of course, an understanding of where we're going. Where we're going here, the meltdown of '08 wasn't about the market. They had everyone focusing on the stock market. And I'm sure all of you were doing that. And admittedly, I was doing it too. That event is what really was my wake up call to, like, yes, of course, I was involved in the market before that, but I had no understanding of it. A very cursory understanding of the market. Most people got decimated. Me, I got decimated too. I came out and I admitted all that. And then I woke up and I got angry. I saw what started happening to people, some of my best friends, getting wiped out. And I saw the suffering that was put on people, and then the bailouts of the system. What those bailouts actually were, okay? People, you see, it's a distraction too. They tried to tell you, oh, we're bailing out the banks. We're bailing out the banks. What we were bailing out was a locking up of the system, a credit freeze. I'm probably one of the first guys to start talking about this. I don't know anybody else who does. I just did an interview earlier today, and we talked about this. It'll be out later tonight. I will post a link to it later for all of you. Liberty and Finance, great show. Anyway, the real issue was the system was locking. We were on the threshold of what's known as a credit freeze. Okay, the flow of credit or debt through the economy was about to stop. What that would mean, what Ben Bernanke said specifically to our loving, caring representatives was, if we don't do this, this was over the weekend, he said, by Monday, we will not have an economy. Is that another clue that the central banks run the economy? It's not the Bidens or the Obamas or the Trumps. It's the central banks, in case it's the Federal Reserve. They run the economy. They run the markets. You understand? So when you hear of Trump's economic plan, which is the same as Kamala's, trickle down, or Bidenomics, there's no such thing. Okay, it's the Fed. Anyway, Bernanke said, we won't have an economy on Monday. So, of course, what happened is capital injections into the systems to free up the credit markets, to get credit flowing. Because if they didn't do it, okay, if they did not do that, if you went onto your bank, zeros, all zeros, no cash, zero, nothing. You would not be able to access any cash. You wouldn't be able to use your debit cards. You wouldn't be able to use a credit card. Nothing. Transactions stop with a credrit freeze. We are being marched towards that. This is the end game. You have to understand where they're pushing us here. This is what you have to. I'm going to say something many of you are not going to believe, but of course you have to have gold and silver, and you need to have things to barter with, but you also need to have some cash on hand. Let's say you need some milk. First of all, let me explain this to you. In a credit freeze event where people are not allowed to, or they can't purchase anything, you can't buy. Transactions just absolutely stop. Just the whole system locks up. When I tell you pandemonium in the streets, every single store is going to be wiped out. Within a nanosecond, you're going to see riots, throngs of people rushing into the stores, cleaning out the shelves. This would be an event, and will be an event, that people are going to talk about for 1,000 years. But that's where we're going. A credit freeze again. What they did last time, okay, they had the ability to repump the system. And what we're seeing now is, of course, as they were pumping the system with debt, okay, it created the illusion of prosperity again. This is how, and now we're seeing this inflation spike here. And this is nothing. This is nothing here. They're going to create a lot more inflation moving forward, because that's the goal of every central bank. You know that. But it's leading to a locking up of the system moment. And forget about what this is going to do to the currency, what this is going to do to the market. This is why Greg Mannarino says you got to be hedged, okay? Greg Mannarino is in a lot of assets here. Greg Mannarino owns a lot of different things. You got to have your hedges set. That is gold, silver, platinum, palladium, exposure to commodities. You got all this already? Are we on the right page? I hope we are. Bitcoin too. Look, you need other things too. With regard to prepping, go check out the Alaska Prepper. He gives me a lot of shout outs. Go check out Alaska Prepper. He's a good guy. I think he's on target. So look, we are going to need each other. All right. They want us divided. We need to come together. We need to be able to support each other. You understand? To carry each other through what's coming. When people fall, we need to be able to pick them up and help them. You understand here? You get what I'm talking about? Whether your neighbor, you hate his guts because he's a Democrat or a Republican, and again, what this two-party system is a uniparty anyway. Why do you think Kamala and Trump are selling you the same thing? Trickle down, it works real well. Clever custom performance. You with me on this, people? Forget it, man. If we don't decide for ourselves what we want, we all lose. They are pushing us into a moment of time that is going to be biblical. I don't know another way to put it. This, again, the divide and conquer has worked since pre-biblical times. This is how the few have controlled the many, and then they convince you that what they're trying to tell you is real. Again, get the book, The Art of the Deal. You listen to Donald Trump talk. You listen to Kamala talk. She's read the book, okay? It's the same story. These truths mixed with hyperbole and alternate facts. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Do you think what they're telling you is truth, that these rallies, it's all truth? No, it's the same thing. It's truth. So people grab onto that with the hyperbole, with the alternative facts, whatever they want to make up, they can tell you, and the people are going to believe it. They could say anything, and the crowd's going to cheer. For example, I'm going to promise you lower rates. The crowd, yeah, that's what we need. Yeah, lower rates. I can borrow myself into more oblivion than I am now. And lower rates means a weaker currency, which means more inflation. People, look, you can't make any of this stuff up. I really hope you're with me. Are you with me? Yeah, I bet you are. Love you all, people, from the heart. I mean that with all I got. Please share this stuff. Get it out there. We hit almost 1,000. We're doing pretty good these days with these thumbs up, and I want to appreciate all of you. So if we can keep that going, I really appreciate it. Share this stuff. Get it out there. Now, I want to hear from you. All right. The Art of TDS. Is that what you have? The Art of the Deal is a great book. Read it. I don't care if you hate Donald Trump. Read his book. The book, it's a bestseller. And it remains a bestseller from what I understand. Read the book and you will understand why politicians and salespeople, they all do the same things. This will give you an edge too. Let's say, for example, you want to buy a car, okay? You have to know how to negotiate, okay? That's in the book too. He tells you how to do it. But understanding what's being pushed at you when someone's trying to sell themselves as like an office, or someone's trying to sell a vacuum cleaner or a car, all right? It gives you an edge. You need to have that edge because a salesperson is a trained professional. They're not just some flunky. You understand? I know salespeople who make astronomical amounts of money, more than you, way, way more than the average person makes. If you're a good salesperson, you are blessed with that. And I'm going to let you in on a secret here. Every single successful salesperson, every single one, has a copy of Trump's book, The Art of the Deal, right next to their freaking bed. And that means you do too. So you know how to negotiate. You know how to sell a product by using truth, alternative facts, hyperbole. It's beautiful. It's beautifully written. I don't know if Trump wrote it himself. If he did, it's freaking magnificent piece of work. So go buy The Art of the Deal, okay? Not because I'm asking you to support Donald Trump, because I know a lot of you hate him, and I don't care if you hate the man. If you hate the man, that's more reason for you to go buy the book, as far as I'm concerned. People like I said, he co-wrote it, right? Yeah. I am out of here. Love all of you from the heart with all I got. Please share the video. Please get it out there, and I want to hear from you. Greg, you know what? You made sense to me. Greg, you have no idea what you're talking about. But tell me why. Tell me where I got it wrong. Look, help each other out. Help me out. If I got it wrong, I am willing to learn. All right. Love you a lot. See you in the morning, people. Until we meet again, please take care of yourselves and take care of each other.